Hey, what's up guys, it's T-Bone here, and welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So it's finally upon us, preview day for the upcoming event, the Honor of Ice. This is supposed to be the event that will have updates to promote better deck building by moving away from battle skill damage to base damage, and will transition from type intensity to event intensity. I've been wondering what the changes will be like, and so far, I've been pretty happy with them. So let's talk about the cards themselves, and what I think about the overall direction for this event. We'll start with Helga, Ice Tech Brawler. Immediately you can see that there are several changes to the back of the card compared to what we're used to seeing, so let's also go over them here. First and foremost, her leader skill boosts all Water Slayer heroes' health and attack by 300%. This is one of the best changes in the game so far, because this is what we needed to open up deck building. The only thing better would be 300% boost for all water heroes, but this is quite good. Her battle skill is pretty simple and straightforward. Heals for 2000 hero recovery every 3 turns, which is quite impressive considering her stats. At level 1, her recovery value is 336, so at 2000% using 3 keys, she can heal for 33,600 health every 3 turns by herself. Next, you'll see that she is empowered, and will now deal 10 times damage against fire enemies compared to the standard 2 times. This is pretty significant, and we will cover that in more detail later. She also generates 10 Water Slayer intensity every time she attacks. Next is the event card, Esteemed Haldor. He is a Water Honor Slayer, which is actually the first time we've seen them. All the other Water Honor heroes have been Commander type. And by the way, the Empowered Affinity bonus applies to all the cards this event. His leader skill is also different, and will boost all Water Slayer cards in GVG fights, so now you can have a much wider variety of teams to try and take down the defenders. His battle skill is very straightforward. 4 Power Gem 4s every 5 turns. No intensity requirements or any other conditions, just 4 Power Gems. So you can see that it's a lot less powerful than the previous cards we've seen, which can passively create multiple Power Gems and apply attack boost in fewer turns. This is part of the balance change that we were told about. The shift of power and damage is moving away from pure battle skills, so it won't look as impressive in comparison. As part of the shift, the base damage of all the cards this event has been increased. Esteemed Haldor deals 4.3 thousand damage at level 1 at 6 stars, which is higher than most previous cards fully awakened 5 times. We'll take a look later and see just how much damage we can expect from this card. The Master Collection hero Dr. Nunat also creates Power Gem 4s, but will only create a total of 6 Power Gems. This is where Slayer Intensity comes into play. He will start off by creating 2 Power Gem 4s and only create an additional 1 every 75 Water Slayer intensity. In this sense, he actually will take longer to create the same number of Power Gems compared to Haldor. Notice that this card is also not overpowered here. To get the maximum of 6 Power Gems, you will need to first reach 300 Water Slayer intensity, and it does have a 5-turn cooldown. Finally, we have the ultra rare card, the Fist of Islan. She is the water gem spawner in the deck, creating 5 water gems as her battle skill. She does provide an attack boost for all water slayers, although at a much lower boost compared to previous bonuses we've seen. The main difference is that it applies to all water slayers instead of a specific type, so her boost will be applied more broadly. At 5 stars, it's capped at 44%, with an increase of 11% every 100 Water Slayer intensity, and at 6 stars will go up to 60%, with a rate of 15% for every 100 intensity. Compared to previous ultra rare cards, you can see that this card does not seem overpowered at all, and it's not a requirement at all for the deck. It will give a bit of a boost, but not getting the ultra rare card does not hurt the team at all, which I think is really important for the overall deck experience. So with the changes for the event and with the battle skills of the event cards in mind, the question then comes down to, is this deck worth investing? Personally, I think that this is a deck that needs to be mixed with other cards in order to be truly successful. And for that, I'm quite excited. Investing for me, at least as far as this deck is concerned, does not mean going after the full deck. This is the case where I'm happy to get a free support card and 1 event card. And since I've been free to play for a while now, this is a very welcoming change. I like the event card. It's like having a Dragoon for guild versus guild fights, and it's decent with 4 power gem spawns. The support card boosts all water slayers and is really a pretty good healer, and since it's not a passive heal, you do need to pay attention to when to activate the skills. The Master Collection and the ultra rare cards in this event are much less powerful in comparison, and there really isn't a great incentive to chase multiple copies of them. You still could, but I think you'll get better damage by mixing other cards. To help understand why I make that statement, let's take a look at the damage calculator. I updated the calculator to include the new Empowered Affinity bonus, which is 10 times bonus damage against fire. In this example, let's assume we have 1 Master Collection card and 4 event cards. Without worrying about intensity, that means the team can generate a total of 18 power gem force. With no other gem spawners, that is the total number of water gems you can expect to connect in the chain as well. With the event deck attack listed at 4,944 at max level, and an assumed relic boost of 5,000, you can see that the expected damage from each of the event cards would be about 24 billion. All 5 cards would net about 125 billion. Now compare this to another team that uses a card capable of creating a board full of power gem 1s. The support card deals similar damage to the event card, so we'll consider them the same. In this case, each of the cards can now deal close to 46 billion damage, almost double the previous case. That means having 2 support cards and an event card will allow you to deal almost 140 billion damage. That's more damage with less event cards and no Master Collection cards. If we keep 2 event cards so that there are only 8 total power gems, but put in cards that can create a full board of water gems, the damage output is still really good at almost 10 billion per event card. So what these numbers tell me is that having a full event deck here is not necessarily the most optimal. Finding other cards that can create more power gems or water gems to fill the board will net you better damage, and there are also other ways to boost the damage, which we will explore in the next episode. Now, there are still other things to consider. All of this so far assumes that the boss health will not be scaled up to account for the 10 times affinity bonus. Because if it does, then it would actually make the old cards really obsolete, which then defeats the whole purpose of this change. If the boss health remains as it has been, allowing for other Slayer decks to compete, then I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. That's all for today's episode. I didn't get a chance to post a video on how I took down the Legend Trial boss using the Dragon deck without the Ultra Rare, but you can see how I play the deck. With Alex in this deck, I'm able to hit close to 300 billion once boosted to the max, and was able to take down Quetzalcoatl in 1 3-key attack. Hopefully this helps you planning for your Legend Trial boss if you're still curious about the Dragon team's damage. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next episode to check out the event deck ideas. The following episode, I'll be doing a live stream. More details will be shared in the description below. Until then, take care and I'll see you next time.